Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani, and we have gotten to the point where a lot of people thought we would. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh next Sunday, 1 o'clock on KDKA. It's the next step along the road to what the Steelers hope is a trip to the Super Bowl, but they have to deal with Jacksonville first, and if they win, likely New England. As Tennessee makes that trip, Kansas City is out. We have a lot to get into. We'll talk about the Penguins, who won tonight, but do they need more than what they have if they're to win another cup this season? We'll talk about that. We'll also get into the New England drama that's playing out right now, and will it affect their team? But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is the Steelers and Jacksonville. That's the way it's going to be on Sunday. And here's your panel left to right on your television screen. We have tonight with us Andrew Fillipponi from Cochran on 93.7 The Fan. We also have Mr. Chris Mack from 93.7 The Fan, pre and post Pirate host during the regular season, and a lot of other talk show related items. And there's Paul Zeise from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, 93.7 The Fan, the Paul Zeise program, featuring lots of 1970 throwback music. If you haven't tuned in, you should for that reason. A lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I love that part of it, Paul. All right, let's get right into it. Pony, we'll start with you on this one. Jacksonville comes here. Now, Ben Roethlisberger said on your show last week that he wants a mulligan. This would be it. What must the Steelers do to make it a different outcome?
Give the ball to Le'Veon Bell. First time around, they said the game got away from him, which was a stupid excuse. It was a one-possession game at the half. They were right in it, and they decided against the #1 pass defense in the NFL to ask Ben Roethlisberger to throw it around 50 times. So that would be #1. If you're going to change the outcome of this game, they need to attack the one place where the Jacksonville defense is vulnerable, and that's the run defense. It was ranked 21st in the league.
I think they've got to protect the football. That's the biggest key here. And the quarterback, I'm sure, will tell you that himself later this week when he talks to Cook and Pony on his show and then to the media on Wednesday. Protect the football. If you don't turn the ball over against Jacksonville, I don't see any way Jacksonville scores more than, 14, 17 points max. They don't have the offense to put up points on the Steelers, even if Leonard Fournette has another nice day. I just think it's that simple. Protect the football and get ready for
I'll just say this about that, Chris. The Jaguars averaged more points than the Steelers this year. They were 5th in scoring offense, and the Steelers, I think, were 8th.
Well, that's an aberration.
Their offense looked like a juggernaut today. I mean, it was special against Buffalo's defense. I mean, come on. Blake Bortles is not coming here and beating the Steelers. The only way they're losing is if Ben Roethlisberger throws 5 interceptions and 2 of them are picked off again for pick sixes. It really comes down to what Chris said. If the Steelers protect the football and don't turn it over, I don't see any way Jacksonville's winning this game.
So the #1 run offense in the league, they give the ball to Fournette against a defense that couldn't stop the Houston Texans running backs.
Well, here's the thing. In the last game when they played Leonard Fournette, he had about 75 or 80 yards until that 90-yard run at the end of the game. So, I mean, everyone's like, they ran for 180 yards and ran all over them. They really didn't. They really didn't. He was averaging like about 3.8 yards per carry until that last run. Which that last run came when they were trying to get the ball back, and it was one of those situations with a 3rd and 1 or whatever, and they got beat.
I'm just confused because a lot of people like you tell me, Paul, that 2005 Steelers had a formula where they ran the ball better than everybody and played great defense. Isn't that Jacksonville in a nutshell?
Yeah,
am I missing something?
And they had Ben Roethlisberger.
The game has changed, and if you talk about quarterbacks, yeah, I think I'll take Roethlisberger over Bortles as long as he's not throwing 5 picks. And I think the other part of that is,
of course, Chris, but they've got the one corner in the league that can actually neutralize your injured wide receiver.
Okay, but I think you outlined the way to beat that right off the top. Turn around and hand the ball off to Le'Veon Bell.
Well, where was that in the first game? Do you trust Todd Haley to do that? I don't.
Well, the other thing you mentioned...
I do. I think that they probably learned from the first game.
Antonio Brown, you mentioned, he may be back, and Jalen Ramsey will be on him, but he's coming back from an injury. But I think what that does is take Ramsey away from other guys. To me, the key is, yes, running the ball, but also guys like Smith-Schuster, guys like Martavis Bryant, they've got to do, and tight ends. They've all been contributing to this offense. If they do that, they should be okay. I want to ask you guys this question, though. This will be a playoff without Ryan Shazier. Is the Steelers defense good enough, not just for this game, but to win a championship without Ryan Shazier? Chris, start with you.
I think it's good enough to get them there. I think we've seen them play well without Shazier in spots down the stretch. I mean, you can't ignore the absence of him in the middle, but I think we've seen It's a limited improvement by Sean Spence and L.J. Fort and those kind of guys in Shazier's absence. The biggest step up to me has been from Vince Williams, who has made a few big plays in the middle of that defense. It's not going to be as easy as it would have been without Shazier. We saw that in the first New England matchup. Shazier is the guy that was picked to shadow a tight end like Rob Gronkowski down the middle of the field. They don't have that guy. I think they do have one big piece of the puzzle back against New England the second time around. It's Joe Hayden.
Chris, I mean, so I just want to make sure I hear you guys correctly. Is Blake Bortles worse than Deshaun Kaiser and Brett Hundley? Is he that bad?
Andrew, let me ask you something.
Because both those guys came in here and moved the ball against this defense effectively.
Well, again, this is a playoff game. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a rested, healthy Steelers team in a playoff game is not going to play the same way they're playing against the Browns in a game that they're half playing.
Okay, absolve.
In a game that they're half playing.
Okay, reconcile Brett Hundley, Paul.
Brett Hundley?
Yeah, he came in here and threw 3 touchdown passes and lit him up.
Okay. Let's ask this question. Who has a better defense, the Buffalo Bills or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Without Ryan Shazier, I think it's close. I would probably lean Pittsburgh if Joe Hayden is healthy.
Okay, so
Andrew, let me ask you something.
Jaguars are unable to put up points on the Buffalo Bills defense. Do we think they're going to walk in here and light up the scoreboard enough to keep pace with the Steelers?
What's enough?
And the thing is, Andrew,
I don't think they can put up 16,
Andrew, let me ask you this.
Blake Bortles threw for like 60 yards against the Steelers the last time.
And they scored 30 points and won.
And it was all turnovers.
Points came off
of the turnovers.
All right, wait. Andrew, you talked about Bortles. You watched today. To me, it looked like they were afraid. The offensive game plan was not to let him throw it on the field. If they're afraid to not let Blake Bortles, their guy, they picked up their 5th-year option on him, they're going to give a lot of money to him. If they're afraid after 4 years in the league that he can't make a play down the field, which was clear today.
Did you see the Buffalo offense? They knew all they needed to do was play conservatively to win. They knew 10 points were going to win them the game.
Who?
The Jaguars. They didn't have to ask Bortles to throw it 30 times.
They scored. They had 2 pick sixes. That 90-yard run at the end of the game when the Steelers are trying to get the ball back, that's 21 points, and another turnover led to a field goal. That's 24. They scored 6 points against the Steelers defense, really.
All right, we got to take a break here. We're just getting started. We're live here with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. When we come back, we'll continue the football talk, and we'll also get into New England. And are they really fractured, and will it manifest itself in their play on the field? We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We're live right here on KDKA-TV. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.